everybody, welcome to the channel if you're new, and welcome back if you're already a subscriber. I'm going to do my best in this very chatty Hobonichi flip through to keep it as condensed as possible. This guy is a chunker. I'm going to attempt to get it done all in one take, but no promises. I might have to stitch some stuff together because things happen. But we're just going to dive right in. If you don't want to listen to all of the fun chattiness, there is a separate video posted that's just a flip and some music and keeping it super simple. But this is definitely going to be the pointing stuff out, chatty version. If I miss something, feel free to drop me a comment down below. If I were to point out every single teeny tiny little thing, we would be here all afternoon. So we're just going to do our best, okay? So I use the Hobonichi Cousin Avec edition, which means that my year is split into 2 books, and thank God for that, because as you can see, this guy got really full. In a change of pace, this one is not, and is almost finished. So it really just depends on what's happening, obviously. Vacations, if I'm doing art challenges, things get tucked in and taped in and stuff like that. This is not as chunky because I haven't been doing as much art challenges. I have not been doing as many art challenges. That's better grammar. There we go. And obviously with COVID going on, there's not a lot of vacationing. So there's not a lot to tuck in and tip in and deal with. So here we go with the super chunky monkey. First thing, I don't do my inside covers. I may at some point, but right now I don't. I do use this as a YouTube page in my 2020 edition, just for something different. My tracker page is the first little outline that you get that looks like it should be a tracker page, or it's the first 6 months, I should say, of the book. This is the contents of the book. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. These 6 months are the contents of this particular book. The next set is future. So I use this as a future planning page, which is great because when I go to set up the next book, I have this kind of as a cheat of everybody's stuff without having to flip through an older one and make sure I get everything in there. And it's great just from a pre-planning standpoint if I'm doing concerts and things like that, which is often what that gets used for. My tracker page, I have really fallen in love with this honeycomb look for a tracker page. I don't know why, maybe because I think of worker bees and that it just makes me want to be productive. It's all the happy yellows and the warm yellows. I'm actually very excited to do the tracker page for my new book because I think I'm going to use colors other than just yellow. So stay tuned for that. Those videos will be coming soon because obviously I have to prep that book to get ready for July. Oh, that's my water bottle. I hit it. It's okay. So those videos will be coming too very soon. So just to talk about my tracker page a little bit, this might be an easier way to look at it. I'm not really sure. So up here is where I list what I'm going to track for that month. So things that I always track are my steps, my power hours, 64 ounces of water if I hit it or not, which that's 8 glasses of water for anybody not really great with math. Calories. I've not really gotten negative feedback, but I just want to be really clear. I change that calorie count monthly. Sometimes it's about maintaining, and sometimes my cat's in the window off to the side of me. So if you hear her or she makes a guest appearance, that's going to be what that's about. But my calories are changing depending on what my goal is for the month. I'm going to put her on the floor and hope she doesn't try to hop up here. So don't think that I'm being like some crazy calorie junkie. Working out, it looks like I tracked vitamins through this whole book pretty much. But then after that, it kind of goes into just monthly focuses. So it could be anything from reading to project life. If there's an art challenge, like Art Venture was going on here. I wanted to do gratitude that month, junk miss prep, the actual junk miss. Sometimes it's even tracking because as you can see, Sometimes there's no tracking at all. And it's not because it didn't happen. It's because by the time I think to go back and track it, I have no idea what happened. If you look, you can see this really cool design that I ripped off from Journal with a Purpose. It's so pretty. To me, it's a really pretty way to have the tracker done, and it kind of goes along with the honeycomb look, to me anyway. And then at the bottom, I use the blocks to just chat about the month. So if I did something really good or really bad, like Junktober, I filled out. If I'm doing bad on something, like maybe my water, which has always been a struggle. This is probably the first month in years, I will go out on a limb and say years, that I've been this consistent with my water intake. So I'm really proud about that. And you'll see that flip through a lot sooner. You won't have to wait 6 months for that flip through. I've been really good about keeping up with that one. We already talked about the pre-planning, so there's no need to really talk about that. So in your Hobonichi Avec, you're going to get, or cousin Avec, you're going to get monthly spreads. So I use my monthly spreads in 2 different ways. So monthly spreads, you get a month prior to the book starting and a month after the book is starting to also use. So this book is July through December. So I also have a June and a January to use. I love using them as like quick notes. I call it 1 line a day. I did have someone ask in one flip what that means. It just means your bullet points of the day. I'm gonna try to read one that's not inappropriate. You're cute. Pick a place so we can plan. Carbonara. It was all good until it wasn't. So I think if memory serves, the you're cute. I was running down a pathway and my boyfriend said, "You're cute," when I got to the end of it. And it made me laugh because we're not necessarily really cutesy like that all the time. But it was cute and sweet, and it was right before work, and it was because he wanted me to see something, and I like scurried down the path, and I had this flowy skirt on, so I'm sure it looked very cutesy. But it's stuff like that. It's just those really funny little moments that happen throughout your day where someone, or it's more for me, I think, but it prompts me to kind of want to go back and read that page and see what happened. The other thing I use a monthly spread for is planning. So I will do my bills down this side and then my workouts here. So I don't recall exactly what happened, but I did something hinky. Oh, I got my paycheck dates messed up. And I made a really bad mistake, and I was pre-planning a bunch in advance. This was before I was doing my plan with me's. So I was planning really far in advance. So I actually had to go back and put these little inserts with the correct budgeting information in it. For this, I used a Dylusion stencil and some Distress ink. This is just from a paper pad, like a 4x6 paper pad that I had from Hobby Lobby. Same with this guy, and just a stencil and some ink. My go-to pen I don't have in front of me is a Pilot G2.38. If anybody ever wonders. A lot of people ask if it runs. It does. You have to let it dry. It is a gel pen. You have to let it dry. I like 0.38. That's why I use it. I do like microns in the 01. So, and they don't bleed and they don't run, and they're a lot better. So I may over time switch to that. It's just something about that like felt tip marker that it can wear down over time. I like something that's going to stay. In the same breath that I'm saying that, I actually have a pen. One of my Pilots right now is super juicy right now for some reason. So it's writing really funky. I didn't decorate any of these. No comment as to why. I have no actual idea. This was funny because I messed up. I accidentally used my December in my 2020 to track my workouts. So typically this page would be in the 2020 version and what's in here would be in here, but it didn't work out that way. This is typically how I would like that 1 line a day to look. It's a great way to use up your stickers. I highly recommend this if you have a bunch of sticker sheets hanging out, because it's great. It's great for that, to use up those little odds and ends and bits on a page. This is another version of it. This is my January spread. I really like how they both turned out. I'm very pleased with them, to be honest. This was definitely what I was going for. The first time I ever did it, let me see if I have that without making everything fall over, God willing. Is this the first one I did it in? I know this is not necessarily part of the video, but we're gonna ride with it. I don't think this is it. I don't have it in front of me. I think it was 2018 that I did it that way the first time. And if you're looking for a good rubber band, asparagus. Well, so much for trying in one take. That didn't go well. But as I was saying, asparagus rubber bands, fantastic. I don't love asparagus, but I love asparagus bands. So that's a thing. Okay, so now we're going to get into the weekly layouts. So 2019 was a rough go with this. I had a lot of success with using hour by hour planning. I need hour by hour planning, and I need to stick to it. And I got in a really nasty habit of making to-do lists in them instead of hour by hour, and I was over stretching, to say the very least. So it was just a mess. So we're going to flip through it. Some things that I do want to talk about. I usually use the top to notate like reminders, important things like birthdays, vacations, events, all that. I usually would use the bottom for water tracking, fitness tracking, and that's about it, because you have like midnight to 4. I'm asleep. So that's a perfect time to use that. For that, I've gotten in my 2020 version. I'm so excited to flip through it because I've really buckled down a lot better this year and learned from my mistakes in the back half of this. That setting things up ahead of time, like putting your meal prep in here, putting your workout in around what time it is. So sometimes I work out at 11, sometimes I work out later at night. It just depends on what my work schedule is that day. I use mild liners. Again, this goes back to the pen thing. Let it dry. If not, it's gonna swipe. You could, if you really like got in here and looked, you would know which ones I let dry and which ones didn't. Okay. I'm not very decorative in my weekly spreads. I adore the ones that are. I already write pretty big, so it does not behoove me to take up more space with stickers. I try to plonk them in where I can or where I think that they're going to be cute. I'll use this for a to-do list every once in a while, just to make sure those things get done over the weekend. I usually use this bar as to-dos. I'll give you guys a peek. This is so bad, but I'm really excited about it because it's been working lately. But to use like this style to make like a to-do list and be able to just color in the block. It sounds really dumb and super simple to think about, but finding planner piece is not just about finding the planner that works for you because of the layout. It's about using it in the best way for you. So yes, you can get on Pinterest or Instagram or Facebook or whatever forum that you like to find new ideas. But if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. And you just have to keep adjusting until you feel like you're in that groove. And even though when I did this one, I almost didn't do another Hobonichi, to be 100% honest, because I wasn't getting results anymore. And I kept getting frustrated. And I was like, why did I love it so much to begin with? So I just went back to those ideals. I went back to the things that I loved about it and trying to use it in that format. And it led me to keep my Hobonichi. So all that to say, you're going to go through ups and downs with your planner. Just roll with it and understand that life is changing. And it's okay. there's no need for me to spend like a ton of time talking about my weekly spreads. Did I start? So I did start putting in the icon somewhere around this time of pre-planning with those, and that helped a lot for me to be able to say, okay, I don't want to eat pork every day for lunch, or I don't want to have Italian 2 times, you know, back to back. So it helped me kind of space it out ahead of time. And now I actually do it in pencil so I can play and move them around before it's set up. And I just leave them there in pencil a lot of the time. And I'll make my grocery list down this side and then erase it once I've gone to pick everything up. So that's another thing that's really working for me. It's going to start to get really empty here in a minute. I just don't know when. Yeah, about this time. I don't even know why it got so empty. Because there's not a lot in my job at the time. There wasn't a lot going on. And then I didn't work the last couple weeks of the year. So it was really blank, obviously. One thing that I did struggle with this particular book, I procrastinated it so long that I felt like it would be doing an injustice to fill this out. Normally, I fill every page that I can. And when I was going back, I kind of realized that it would be an injustice to write and fill in those pages 6 months from now, because my headspace is totally different. I can write about what happened on a certain day because I have facts and I have thoughts and I can remember how that felt. But to rant for 2 pages would just not feel right. And I didn't want to look back on it and also know I wrote it 6 months later. And I guess I could write that even in there, but I thought it best to just fill it with the odds and ends that I had left that didn't fit on pages on that particular day, and just move on. So I stuck down little pictures that I happen to have left over, receipts, stickers, all kinds of stuff. So now we're going to get into the chunky part. We're going to get into the daily pages. This is where it just can get crazy. So the way that I approach monthly pages, the first monthly page, where it says what month you're in, has been different over time. Sometimes I use it as an art page. So whatever I'm focused on at the time, what tutorials I'm listening to and watching and enjoying, a new supply maybe that I want to try, if it's a glaze or a stamp or a layering technique. So it's changed a little bit, but at this point in time, I was kind of I would go through the whole month and then flip back to this page and write about it and talk about how I felt for that whole month and like where my brain was at. So this would reflect an entire month's worth of thoughts, essentially. Okay, so kind of getting into this, I'm trying to figure out what the best way is at this point. I use a lot of lettering to take up space and stamps. These are stickers from Mindful Hookup. These are just some Mambi stickers. I love the floral books, and I was really obsessed with my Mildliners for a while. But I do love the Mambi floral sticker books because I love florals, but it's a really great way to pop that in and give you like a color palette to start playing with. I do love to write about moon phases and the effects that they can have on us. I'm very excited anytime I can include photos. This was the first time that I went to what we call the camp. It's some property that my boyfriend's family owns in South Georgia. So that was fun to journal about and throw stuff in. Hobonichis are a great place to play with your lettering because it's very fun for me to look back on it when I do these flips. This is a Tim Holtz stencil with some ink. The pen that I'm using is the Tombow Fudenosuke, however you say it. If I were to guess, it's going to be the hard tip because the soft tip and I were having some issues. There's a Prismacolor brush pen under this, and then I just went over it. The stamps are Tim Holtz. I went through and took all the labels off of my succulents and just stuck them in random places throughout the book, so that day it was almost like a prompt. It would help me either draw it or paint it, and I could put the details of that plant. I decided to become a succulent mom in April of last year, and it took off, and I'm still a succulent mom and buying more and propagating like a fiend. I took some Heidi Shine and did it all over this page before I did everything over top. This was also at a point where I didn't do necessarily day by day. I would prep a lot of pages sometimes in advance. So I would spray this and then flip ahead and do another page, and it kind of helped get me going that day, but I don't do that anymore, and I don't, it doesn't suit me to do that anymore. So, I think it's great if you're first starting out with a Hobonichi to prep a little bit, but I think as you get the hang of it, it's kind of like if you're afraid of a blank notebook. It's very similar to that first fear, but once you get the hang of it, you realize it's kind of annoying when you get to a page sometimes that's maybe bright and sunshiny and you didn't have a bright sunshine day, or you prepped it with something that you just don't like by the time you get there. So, or it's difficult to write over, and then that makes you frustrated. So I like my blank pages a lot more. One thing I do love to do is to stamp on packaging paper. I think it adds such great texture to your book, and it definitely gives it a fun vibe. Change up your lettering. As you can see, I'm constantly playing with different lettering styles as well. One thing I do is I tape in notes from podcasts, or in most cases, it's Red Table Talk. I love the show. It's short. It's easy to watch. It gets you to think. And I love any kind of a podcast or a show that really lets people speak about different topics and investigates things. I think maybe it's like the Mr. Rogers modern day to me, but it talks about adult issues and how they affect you at any age, and how it's kind of like a therapy session. It's really great to watch her shows. So I'm, plugging that for a minute. But I really do enjoy the show, and I love taking notes and typing them out really nice and then sticking them in here. See, I was really feeling the Free Spirit book from Manby. That's where a lot of these stickers are from. Obviously throwing in little things like ticket stubs. I struggle with trying to decide what I want to save for Project Life or stick in here sometimes. I live by the wonderful quote of James Burke, which is, it's not hoarding if it ends up in a journal. So sometimes it's just easier to go ahead and put it in here, whether it's wristbands or photos or ticket stubs and receipts. Because now that I've been catching up on Project Life, I realize sometimes that my receipts don't make it in there. So sometimes it's better to just throw it in here. I was swatching some magic wand pencils. This sticker is from another Mindful hookup sticker baggie that I have. My bunny, he's passed away now, but this was his birthday. And I love that I got to stick his birthday card in there. I just thought it was just really cute to have everything in the I love you to the new moon and back. Throwing in doilies for more texture and the packaging paper. Another thing is if I'm doing like, especially a Jane Davenport or any kind of a prompt-based thing, I usually will like to print out the prompt list and throw it in there so that it's at the beginning of the month for me to flip back on if I don't have the ability to take a look at it. And plus it's just fun to have in there because usually it's kind of decorated by the artist. This is going back to talking about, I didn't like how this was pre-done at all. I got really aggravated. I didn't know I was going to be doing Art Venture at the time. So it was really annoying. I loved how she turned out. This was done on a craft Dilutions paper. She has her own set of, you get black craft and I think like a mixed media kind of like cream white color to play on, but I love how she turned out with the splatters and the stenciling and the stamping and the sketching, and she looks so pretty. So I love that, but I hate these pages because the spray dried kind of tacky and it was a pain in the butt to write over. Art Adventure was really cool and I was doing really, really well and I was enjoying it, but we had company coming at the end of the month. So all of the time that I had got sucked into getting yard and house clean and ready and presentable. So I quit, I think right about here. Yeah. So that was a mess. This is kind of the first time I did this where I printed the typing that I had done on a piece of scrapbook paper. This is from the Heidi Swap Pineapple Crush collection. This is that cream insert paper I was talking about. And I just distressed it and I used a really cool stamp. This was a page done inspired by Ann Lister, which, what is the name of the show? It was on HBO. Gentleman Jack. It's so good. If it's still on there, find it and watch it. It was just fantastic. I loved it. But I definitely used this space to rant about a particular incident that was going on at the time. Oh, I did have a couple more pages. I love this because I actually was inspired by a bikini that I'd gotten at the time. I wish this hadn't turned out so smudgy. I liked the mixed media element of this challenge, and it really helped me draw and learn shapes and really get into that space. And I hadn't played or really done an art challenge since Mermaid, so it was nice to kind of have this as a practice in the middle of kind of waiting. I thought that I was going to get an October challenge with Jane Davenport, and I ended up doing a junk journal challenge instead. I already know what I'm doing for October of this year, but I'm not saying anything. But this is the last one. These are the last ones. This one was really fun to do. I did like how it turned out. And she was kind of cute too. But this is going back to, I really don't like that this was done the way it was. You can't read the writing. It was a pain in the butt to even do the writing itself. It created crazy textures on the other side. I don't know if anybody knows, but Hobonichis are built using Tomoe River paper. That means you cannot, well, you can, but I don't recommend it, using things that are alcohol based. If you're using things that are alcohol based, they're gonna bleed through. Okay, a lot bleeds through on these papers. So it's really great for stickers and pen, but it's wonderful for watercolor. It's absolutely fantastic and just dreamy to work on. But it can be very challenging, and it's fun to play with those challenges. So that's just all I'm going to say about that and keep moving on. Most of the stickers that you see are going to be from me and My Big Ideas or Mambi or Happy Planner. I have sticker books on top of sticker books on top of sticker books. Some are from the planner collection Agenda 52 with Hobby Lobby, and some are from the Mindful Hookup, which is Quinn Boulay, and it's her shop. like a lot of these are. The Luck one, the stickers right here, the Be Brave Enough are all from Quinn Shop. But everything else is me and my big ideas, I think, on this page. You're going to notice Post-its all of a sudden for the rest of the month of August, because I had ideas of what I wanted to do for the art venture, but I never actually did them. But I like the Post-its because it gives me inspiration. So if I ever flip through here again, or art venture ever happens again, I'll have new ideas that I can recycle. This is a guest check thing. We're using it as a notepad to plan for the big get-together. So this was the get-together that we were cleaning and doing everything for, and I put our menu in there, which was great, because I got to meet basically a bunch of my boyfriend's family for the first time. So it was really fun. It was a lot of family and friends, and it was really fun. So it was a good day to journal about. These are from Quinn's shop, and then this is just a Tim Holtz stamp on some packaging paper. I'm glad that I'm doing the flip through kind of like this, but I'm kind of not, because things have been, oh, please don't fall. Things have been kind of falling out in a way. Oh, see, I'm not even hitting the mark anymore. There we go. But these are our packing lists. We're very OCD. If you know us at all, we're very OCD. So having packing lists before any kind of a big trip is going to happen. And I thought it'd be funny to put ours in there, because we were staying in a condo on the beach, and we had a full kitchen and everything. So we wanted to cook a lot to save money, and only try to eat out a couple times and do meals there, and it worked out really well, but it took a lot of effort to pre-plan and make sure we were going to have everything. So that's in there. Because it was a trip, I did take scrapbook paper and tuck it in and use it so I could get additional pages, because it was so much. I'm going to talk about, first of all, Sarah Bucassini. Bucassini, is that how you say it? I don't know, but I love how that turned out. I spilt nuts in the car. Normally I would go through some of these and literally talk about everything that happened that day, but that's how these videos get just ungodly long. So it's just easier to flip at a slower rate of speed and kind of call things out. So like I said, if you want to ask where something came from, stamp, sticker, what kind of videos or picture stuff I use and I don't say, let me know. Most of these were actually printed on my Canon selfie printer. I now have a Sprocket, and you'll see, I might have used some Sprocket photos in here, but most of them are from the Canon selfie and just cut down. But I want to talk about how to stay up to date in your Hobonichi while being on vacation. So here's a couple tips and tricks. One, everyone has a notepad on your phone, and chances are you're going to have a couple downtime minutes some way, somehow, whether it's laying on the beach, whether it's taking a lunch break, whether it's just sitting down for a little bit, or being in a vehicle from point A to point B. But try to take notes, like bullet point notes for yourself, as best you can, because that's really what helped. And then when I come home, I just kind of sit down and binge through them all so that it's done. But that definitely this was the first trip I really used that strategy, and it worked really well. And then when I went through James's Memory to Memento class, it kind of, he talked about some tips and tricks as well that he used that I'm going to adopt into my own stuff. And I can put the link for that course down below. I think my affiliate link is still good. But I don't know off the top of my head. I think it might be. Save any kind of labels that you have. Think about the fact that these pictures are also going to go maybe in some kind of a documenting device, and how you want those photos to be set up. Sarah Bucassini happened to be someone I discovered on Pinterest while we were driving. And I may not remember her name, but I'll remember what it was about by seeing this. So I love having this little doodle, watercolor doodle in there. It makes it perfect. Headings are also a great way to jog your memory. So if you want to write something really fancy in your Hobonichi, if you get a minute, you can. Obviously, lots of stickers and pictures. Date stamping along the way if you're adding extra pages, which I did for this in particular because this trip was very full. Saving menus is great. Screenshotting things. I think screenshots are much better for journaling than they are for Project Life. I don't know. I feel like my Project Life can sometimes get a little bit fancier and it's less junky. Just pictures I took. He caught a shark. That's a whole different story for a whole different day. But it was very funny. It was baby shark and we put it back. We didn't hurt it. It was fine. These are actually kind of the rules of the condo that we stayed in. Oh, this was our really crazy dinner, actually. This was a very annoying dinner and very expensive at that. I don't try to pre-decorate either. Most of this I did pretty much as soon as I got home, I want to say. Like, it was pretty quick because it's very full. That's how I can tell that I did it really fast, that everything was still at the top of my brain. And I did take really good notes. This was a really great food day. I'm not going to lie. That was fantastic. We went into Gulf Shores our last day, which was near Orange Beach. And we hadn't been in Gulf Shores. And we went in and there was so much good food hiding in there. So we can't wait to go back to Orange Beach and Gulf Shores. It's going to be a fun, we've got to do it again thing. These are some of the Dear Lizzie stickers from her sticker book. And then I managed to get the last day in there. This is so ugly. I hated it. I hated how it turned out. This is kind of going back to the style of what I was obsessed with at the time of the month. I did these big giant planter versions before the people came for company. But they were starting to really bloom and fan out, and I was getting little succulent propagation. We were starting to get some leaves falling out of trees, and we love fall. So I had to stick that in there. Another thing is obviously like cutting down menus and putting them in there. I really enjoyed, I got new watercolors that day. That's why that was pertinent. I think that using up sticker books in your Hobonichi is a lot easier than doing it in, say, a Project Life sense, because I feel like we want everything to look so cohesive in Project Life, and here you can peel those stickers off. So if you watch my bag tour, you'll hear me talk about having, those tacos are delicious. They're from a taco truck that's actually, oh my gosh, when I drove home this morning, it was already out at 9 o'clock at the gas station it sits at, and it's tempting me, but I'm supposed to have tacos tonight, so I can't have tacos all day. I lost my train of thought. Oh, sticker books. You'll hear me talk about how I keep a couple sticker books that I'm trying to get through in that bag specifically for that reason, because they're not necessarily the pretty stickers that you're obsessed over anymore, but it may match a washi tape that you're now very obsessed with. So just making sure that we're using our supplies and not hoarding them. Heavy's cookies are delicious if you ever have access to them. They are very heavy. I ordered the beautiful Galleon leather cover that I have, and it got there, so I taped that in there. I started plugging in autumn scents to put me in the mood. Yellow Daisy Festival is something that happens here in Atlanta. Obviously, it's been going for 51 years, and this was my first time ever going, and it was fun to put in bits and pieces of the brochure from that day versus hoarding it and saving it for a Project Life layout when I knew it would fit better in here. It's all about also knowing what ephemera, what personal ephemera you keep and hang on to and where it's going to be best. I really like how this Friday the 13th, this stamp set came in some stuff that, or I bought from Quentin's shop. These are some of those Agenda 52 stickers. This is one of my favorite stamps that I have. And I also have dragonfly tattoos. And this, my sister passed away a number of years ago, and this would have been her birthday, her 26th birthday. And we see her come back as a dragonfly. So it was a perfect place to tuck this stamped image. Sometimes I stamp a bunch of images, just I'm in the mood to stamp, and I stick them in my craft bag so that I have it for whenever I need it, and I can just plunk the images in there when I see fit. So I liked how that page really did turn out. Also, if you are of a certain age that you should probably not be using or looking at profanity, I should have disclaimed this before. That's why my videos are marked not for children, because I cuss in them and I say words and talk about sex and cuss and all of that in here. So you get what you get. They're marked for a reason. So sorry the disclaimer's so late, and I'm hoping that I don't offend anyone, but it's definitely in there. Hobonichis are kind of like a diary to some extent, I feel like. I don't know that I love how she turned out. I'm going to be really real about that. I did love this washi tape. I think it's from Bo Bunny, that like foliage look. I have my phone on airplane mode, so I hope people are not trying to blow up my phone because I've still got a way to flip. This little post-it came from Quinn's shop as well. Let's see. I was obsessed with this sticker book. You see me use it, and I don't normally do this. I don't normally do repeat pages, but I did 4 straight pages. 5 pages, and that was the Agenda 52 book, one of them that I have, and I just love the colors in it. This is from a different Agenda 52 book. This is a lovely little Tim Holtz stamp. This stamp is from Quinn's shop. I got it in a moon themed kit, I think, maybe, or I might have just bought it separately. This is a nice card from my friend Taylor. Taylor and I met through YouTube and just have been friends ever since. And if you want to check out some combined videos of us, we had a travel journal go between us for a little while, and that's such a fun pen pal project to have a journal together. So I definitely want to get that started back up with her. These printouts came from Crate Paper's printable section. I put one in for November too. And strangely enough, I didn't do a November spread. But in October, we went to Jacksonville, which is where this picture was taken. That's Bubby. She's so cute. She's not a puppy. She's 15 years old. And she's a very mean, crotchety old lady, but I love her anyway. We went to do my annual Halloween Horror Nights trip. It was my 7th year. Or 8th year. Oh God. 7th or 8th year, whatever. I think it's my 7th. And Junktober was going on, and we went to the beach, so there was a lot. It's going to be really chunky. So I made this little mini book because I think the prompt for the day was story time. I want to say fall might have been the thing. Or leaves. Leaves. Most likely. So I did the tag. This pocket's trying to pop off, so I'm trying to like hold it down carefully. This was all about the moon, so I tucked lots of moon themed things. Fun fact about vellum, people. If you're going to stamp on vellum, use Stays On. It's worked the best that I've found. I think this was Memento ink, and that's why it's so faded, but it might even be archive. So just be careful what you stamp on vellum with to make sure it holds and lasts. I don't know the maker of this stamp. This was part of the same stamp set that I got from Quinn Shop with the moon phases. And then this is a Tim Holtz stamp. I do like this page a lot. I had to pre-plan a lot of Junktober because I knew we were going to be gone. Oh dear. At the time. I want to say this page was Trick. Yeah. Trick. And I love that little toe tag. Envelope was 4. And so I filled this envelope with things I wanted to accomplish that day. It also happened to be the anniversary of my father passing away. So I threw that in there. I just thought that was really important. And then a note between my boyfriend and I that I'm going to quickly fold away. That was really cute. We were writing notes back and forth to each other that day, which was cute to tuck that in there. And then I sealed it with some wax and my Harry Potter seal because we were headed to Halloween Horror Nights that day. And hence the butterbeer. My hair was very like white blonde while we were there. I love when I get to that place with my hair when it comes out of its brassy mess. And then we headed to the beach on Sunday. So there's some fun. And we were playing with portrait mode. Treats was the theme for one of the days. I think it was the 6th. Yeah. It was trick and then treat. So I did this little Tim Holtz die cut and used some thickers letters I had and just stamped like the candy corn on vellum and stuff like that. I got some great beach pictures. It was really weird. The beach was foamy. I don't know how else to explain it, but there was tons of foam all over the beach for that trip. You can't even really see it in any of these pictures. So I want to talk about Taco Lou just for 1 second. If you are ever in Jacksonville Beach, ever, for whatever reason, find Taco Lou. If you like tacos, try their queso fundido and try any taco because it was the best. Oh my gosh. Seriously, I'm not a taco fanatic. I know it probably looks like that, but I was going through some taco phases. Oh my gosh. The best tacos I've ever had. And I dream about that place nightly. Not nightly, but I do dream about it. The prompt for this day. Oh, and you can see like I used a bunch of Tim Holtz paper to create extra pages. Specifically because we were on a trip. Again, I needed all those little tuck-in places. The prompt for this day was cat. So of course I used my beautiful black kitten because her name is Banks and she is named for the Hocus Pocus cat. So I did the rhyme from Hocus Pocus and did a little kind of like photo strip style thing of her in different ways. She's my baby and my heart and so much like me. It's frightening. I do like how my washi day turned out. And it just so happened to be on a washi Wednesday. So I thought that was a really cool way. And I love my little hexagon punch that I got to use in a creative way. I actually used that punch and that style to do my Kyoto cutouts from my Memory to Memento course with James. Not my course with James. I took his course, let me be clear. So there's that. I created this little pocket. I don't know what the prompt was. Maybe bugs or insects. But I just kind of tucked this in. I was nice enough to I got to go pick up a bunch of succulents from a restaurant nearby that was closing their location. And they had succulents in these big outdoor baskets. And I asked if they would mind if I kind of saved them, and they were fine with it. They were going to throw them in the trash or just let them kind of rot out there. So I got a lot. Now fast forward like 8 months. Thankfully, a bunch have survived, but it was a rough winter for a bunch of them. I'm not gonna lie. I think a lot died and just didn't make it. I got some happy mail from a girlfriend of mine, so I threw the card in there. Jeffrey's birthday weekend is all in here. And one of my co-workers' daughter drew me a picture, so I tucked that in there. I just so happened to have a pocket that would work with. This was collage. I'm pretty sure it was collage. So I enjoyed pulling out bunches of bits and pieces and stickers and such that would pop in there. I think that was Moon. And I used a lot from the Pink Paisley Spellcast collection too with my Junktober challenge. Danny and Dust of Roses, and I can't think of her name, her actual name, ran the challenge. And if you go back in my Instagram, you can see all these pictures and also who hosted the challenge. This was definitely skeleton, and I wanted like a chalkboard vibe. I used some Dilution stamps for this. The alpha stamps are from Studio Calico. I really liked how my black and oranges pages turned out. That was really nice. These are, if you have a Paper Source store, they have their color chart thing. And I really liked being able to cut out that little guy and stick him in there like a swatch. Costumes might have been the thing for that day, because I love you enough to not force you into a couple's costume, and you love me enough to never dull my sparkle, which is very true of my relationship. I love that these stamps matched and I had them, and they do have sparkle. I had gotten the really pretty Jean Haynes set with Daniel Smith, and it's all sparkly and gorgeous. Perker's birthday, he is one of my cousins, happened to fall in here, and the prompt was memories. So it's great to take a picture of him being so little, and it was actually the day that his baby brother was born, and they are a week apart. They're a week apart. Their birthdays are a week apart. But they're 2 years apart. This is Stays On ink in copper. Pumpkin was the prompt. I don't know that I love how my pumpkins turned out on that. Maybe horror movie was the prompt that day. But I loved these letters with the Jigsaw Clown. I thought that turned out really great. And I love the Saw movies. I know they get a lot of crap, but I really enjoy them personally. I love the mystery of them all. So yeah. Again, this is the chatty version, so you get what you get. This is Layers. I don't know what the prompt was here, but Pretty Little Liars ended up being my inspiration. I never even bothered with covering the back of that. Map, possibly. So I used my map from Halloween Horror Nights, all layered up. Oh, it might have been Haunted House, actually. So that's our little group shot together that night, from that night. And then I bought Hufflepuff and Slytherin wax seals for me and 2 of my crafty girlfriends. So I had to put that in there because that was really special, because that's really the only place you can get the real ones. Costume, maybe, or Happy. Yeah, it was Happy and then Halloween. And this is my costume. We did a costume party / birthday party for all the October birthdays in his family. And I was a fairy princess of sorts, and I actually glued these butterflies in my hair. Fun fact, glossy accents will keep things in your hair but not ruin them, or not ruin your hair. We had a really low-key Halloween, actually. Like I said, I didn't do the November page at all. Things kind has started to get really dicey towards this last little bit. There's not as much journaling. I ended up doing a challenge with my friend Taylor, who we talked about earlier, who sent me the card, and I met on YouTube. We did a challenge together called Use Your Junkmas to clean out our Christmas stash. I don't know what it is about Valentine's, Halloween, Christmas, but we hoard those supplies. Like, we're never going to have a really cute Christmas collection ever again. So it was a good time to drag out your Christmas stuff and use it. So we'll get to that in a minute. I used a lot of photos to take up space. I think, well, that was a crazy day altogether. This was the day of my Black Keys show. It was a rough weekend, to say the least. And you'll notice this, I'll change up even just my journaling. Sometimes I do cursive, sometimes I do all caps. In the new one, I even kind of do like uppercase, lowercase at the same time writing, which is normally like my sloppy note-taking writing. And I kind of liked it for a little bit. And on certain pages I do. These are from the Jen Hadfield book that she has out. This is from the first Pink Paisley book as well. And that's these are all the first books. So if you've been paying attention, American Crafts released a lot of new sticker books this year. So a lot of these were first edition. These were not, the new ones weren't out yet. That was some really good shrimp and grits, I'm not gonna lie. This day, I didn't even have a clue what happened. Because it got kind of procrastinated, so I just had to do like a winner quote and keep it moving. I don't love how that page turned out, but that's a really great way if you lose track. I finally plugged in my Fresh Balsam Wallflowers to kind of put myself in the mood. This was after Thanksgiving. Oh, here was Thanksgiving. So it was premeditated there. Now we're going to get into the land of Junkmas. So stencil might have been the beginning. Stencil. Something stitched. I just hand stitched that little tag. Swatches or paint. Paint. I was so mad. I have more paint than I know what to do with, and this was a very poor excuse for paint. Patterned paper, I think was this guy. And then I just typed out my journaling and slapped it on there. Tickets. This was when I discovered James Burke Creative too. So I went down a creative rabbit hole. This is notepads. I love this, who makes these? Knock Knock Pads makes them. Ribbon. So just ribbon I had laying around. This little washi flake is from the Park Lane collections that you can get at Joann's, and they are fantastic. I recommend them. They fade really easy into your background. I like how this page turned out. I wish I had done it the day of, so I could have been really accurate about what needed to be purchased. And I have a really good memory, don't get me wrong, but this was definitely a hard page to do after the fact. This is also one of my favorite pages, even though it did get ripped by the Heidi Shine on the opposite side. It was magazine stuff. So I just liked how colorful and bright that was. This might be a picture from my sprocket, actually. So we have that and some Heidi Shine. This was the Washi Wednesday that we did. I love my snow globes, and I love the washi from these collections. I have a huge love of Maggie Holmes's style, and I loved Heidi Swap's last year's collection. I'm trying to get my hands on that after the fact, but I loved all of the little snow globes and the washi from the Merry Days and the Snow and Cocoa, which is these collections. And then the stamps are from Snow and Cocoa as well. I love how that turned out. Enamel dots was this guy, and all the stickers that I used were from Quinn's shop, and even the little moon stamp right here. Tag was the prompt for this. This is a vellum paper that I'd had for forever, and I thought it just looked so great with her stamp, and just wanted it to look really vintage. And I took some old tags that I had and a new tag that I had. This is from the Merry Days collection that I just wanted to put all the tags that I could in there. Printables was this guy. These printables were from, you can get them on the Crate Paper blog. They're from the Your All Heart or All Heart collection. Wax seal. The seal is from Quinn's shop, and I just did it over a paint swatch that you can get at Home Depot and threw some packaging paper stamp action on there. Envelope. I stamped all of this cute border and threw the washi on from Snow and Cocoa. Rub on was that one. This was a cop-out because it looks like it should be stamps or paint. And it turned out really, really, really pretty. I won't lie. That was just a really bad day. And so I did all of the journaling in cursive because it's harder to read. Die cuts was this guy. And so it turned out very pretty, I think. And they are all from, I cannot think of the brand right now. No, Kaiser Craft. This is from an old Kaiser Craft collection. Tea, maybe? What's this one? Doilies? Tea? Specialty paper. Specialty paper. Because I have the vellum, I have some book paper, and packaging paper. And journaling around this was actually really fun once it was done. We all used the same thing for this. It was packaging paper, I think. And we all used Starbucks things. That was really comical. But I did all my journaling on just a piece of notebook paper. I stuck the receipt for our Christmas tree shopping in there. And a receipt, because I was starting to buy a bunch of James's products at that point. So all his little invoices are in here, I think. This is from my little Fresh Balsam candle. I usually light that on Christmas specifically. I've been hanging on to it and it keeps sitting on my desk. So we're going to just throw that in there. The way that my desk is set up, I know you can't see it, but above my desk, there's like another shelf, and that's where I stick a lot of extra washi tape, stickers, packaging, anything that's sticky, so that I use it and it doesn't get stuck somewhere. So I've still got a couple of things stuck up there, and that was one of them. I was like, oh, I'll just stick it in during the flip. It's fine. So if you watch the quick flip, you don't see that. This was map squares, and Taylor actually sent me my map squares, or maps was probably the prompt. Or was it Coco? That was my stomach growling. I like how the swirls turned out on this little guy. That was nice. Recipe card. Jeffrey's stuffed mushrooms are one of my favorites. So that had to be put in there for sure. Wrapping paper, because it was Christmas Eve. And this wrapping paper was actually from a DVD that my mom gave me forever ago. And I loved the paper because it had fairies and all that good stuff on it. So I put a note from my mom and then journaling about Christmas Eve, because we spent Christmas Eve opening presents so that Jeff and I could have Christmas Day to ourselves. And I picked Polaroids as the prompt that day. So I took them with an Instax and then threw some stickers on them. Cards were the 26th. So I have cards from James, with my purchases. And then, one sec. I did get stopped again. So this prompt was cards. They came from James and in the orders. So we popped that in there. Tea was this prompt, and so I used some pages that I had from Alice in Wonderland, and I just used my watercolors over them, and I finally got to drink my Turkish tea, which was very good. It was Turkish black tea, and it came with my Galleon leather cover. It was very nice. I think that this might have been vellum, because that big vellum swatch is there. This was also a vellum tag I had from a cut apart page that was really nice. It said, be kind, be brave, be a friend, and made it into a little tag. And, ooh, I don't know what this page would have been. I might have also been ahead or like messed up some days somewhere in there. I can't think off the top of my head, and I actually don't have a printout of what the prompts were. And I don't know what this one is. Maybe stickers. I really don't know what that one was. And then this one was Sparkle, which was really fun because I got to use my James Burke stamps for the first time, and I got to use the doll parts to make her. And then I just covered her with stars and put sparkle everywhere and used one of my favorite quotes of "Don't let anyone dull your sparkle." The back pages, this kind of goes back to what I was talking about before, where I just used my extra pages to throw ephemera in. So I had a picture of my first journal inserts that I made for the shop. We were really liking Screaming Sicilian Pizza, and they have these little punch out mustaches on the back of the boxes. So I put one of those in there. We give our dog, or his dog, CBD oil, or we were at the time, and that was the brand. We had Cracker Barrel, that was from that. Now, these were pre-done pages, and I do like having them kind of, I'm sorry, I'm like sticking my hand over it. I do like some pages already put in there, almost like an index or a guide. So I usually will keep a project life list. So it's listing all of the project life projects that still need to be done. Wow, how many more times can I say projects? But it has the list of events to check off. So I'm kind of seeing what my progress is. I don't have a really great track record with getting project life done. Right now I'm getting a little bit better, but I'm still working on 2015. And it's just the bane of my existence. I do keep a monthly expenses page and then goals of where I want to be in 6 months or in a year. So I like having that and just kind of seeing how my budget fluctuates. I did a progression to not perfection weight page and measurement. So I was measuring myself. Instead of looking at just a number on a scale, I like the idea of having measurements. And it may be something I do again because I'm back on my workout train pretty well. So it might be something that I do in the second Hobonichi book. I didn't do it in the first. I use my timetable and my graph paper for nothing as of right now. I love my favorite section. I wish I was better at filling it out or remembering to. And then I did use this back page. I'm very glad that this is now gone and the My 100 is back in the books. So what I mean by that is that in the back pages, the My 100 is back and it wasn't in this book. So that's a really nice change to see. Because I did like the My 100. I don't like this. I didn't even accomplish any of those, which was also very sad. I don't usually use these pages for anything other than a pin test page because they are the same paper, obviously, as the whole book. I use the gift list to start pre-planning for Christmas. And I'll do kind of something similar this time around. I haven't been using the address pages, but that's really it. that's all done. I know I said I did not do cover pages or the inside covers, but I did use this to just hand letter all the succulents that I had at the time and the ones that Jeffrey has in his cactus planter that are separate from mine or his little one. But that's it in its entirety. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, if I missed anything that you want to know about, just pop a comment down below or a question. I'm happy to answer it. But yeah, I promise you won't have to wait so long for this guy's flip through, because he will be all put together beautifully and done much faster. I've been very up to date on this, so he might it might be in July, but no later than probably August that I'll pop that up as a video as a flip. Like I said, stay tuned for the next couple weeks, because there's going to be some prep videos for the Hobonichi 2020 July through June edition. I actually probably need to find it because I don't know offhand where I've stuck it. Good thing to embark on probably soon. But thank you guys so much for watching and to sticking through this very long chatty thing. I hope everyone's doing well and enjoying planning and creating in this crazy time. And I hope it's giving you a little bit of sanity. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until the next time, bye.